watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Hello and welcome to Business Access Television's coverage of the opening ceremony and reception for the Mona School of Business and Management's 4th Business and Management Conference. We're at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in New Kingston. I'm your host, Kenil Gale. Stay tuned for the highlights.
Honorable Minister Nigel Clark, other distinguished guests, members of the UWIC Committee, and members of the Mona School of Business and Management, academics from Jamaica and the region, members of the business community, President of the PSOJ and other dignitaries. Welcome. This is our official opening of our 4th International Business Conference, and it promises to be one of our most exciting as we deal with the topic of entrepreneurship and the promise that it should deliver to the economy. We're pleased to share and spearhead this initiative, and we feel that we're well placed to do so. The Mona School of Business and Management has a long record of research, teaching and learning, as well as implementing our own venture competition program, which has gone on to be the 2-time defending champion of the National Business Model Competition. So we feel that we're uniquely placed to have this discussion about entrepreneurship. We seek to bring together all the members of the community, entrepreneurs, small and large, and to have critical discussions. We've started today, but over the next 2 days, on how we can advance entrepreneurship, both traditional and social entrepreneurship, in collaboration with you, our partners. So, welcome once again. We look forward to stimulating discussion. As I said this morning, this is another in the series of building bridges between not just Mona School of Business and Management, but also the wider university to the business community. We feel it's important that what we do impacts you today and tomorrow. Today it is teaching and learning, tomorrow it is research.
We had our first in 2015. And at that stage, our executive director at the time, Professor Denzel Williams, thought it would be a good idea to have an event that showcased more of the work of the University of the West Indies, more of the experiences of small island developing states in the area of business and management. And so here we are today, the 4th conference, under the leadership of our new Executive Director, Dr. David McBean. And so this conference, we've chosen the theme of delivering on the promise of entrepreneurship. Why? We are at a watershed moment in our country's history and development. We've had a number of policies, a number of initiatives among a whole range of actors, organizations in Jamaica and among our international development partners. And the focus has been largely on entrepreneurship, innovation. What is the magic? What do we need to do to propel our economy forward? And so we thought at this stage, as a business and management institution, educational institution, it would be good to showcase our role in that. And so we brought together this, what I call, distinguished panel of speakers and this program throughout the conference. So we have put together 23 sessions over a 3-day period. We started this morning at 8:30 a.m. and I'm happy to see many of the people who were here at 8:30 a.m. They're still here with us, and I'm grateful for that. We don't take that kind of support lightly at all. So our program reflects a number of the key players across the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Jamaica, from private sector, public sector, civil society, social enterprises. We have, for instance, our host of display and exhibits on the outside and throughout the conference. And these are businesses, enterprises that have sprung up, most of them, through our venture competitions at the Mona School of Business and Management and the wider university campus. And as we are here, I invite you to walk about and see what is there. So we have a host of sessions that focus on some of the hard skills for entrepreneurs. What are the audit issues? What are the legal issues? What are the regulatory issues that we all need to know about as entrepreneurs and MSMEs? What are some of the innovations? What are some of the policies taking place? We have sessions that focus on youth entrepreneurship, on gender, on networking, and it's critical that we offer these kinds of skills, because the reality is doing business is not just about the legal and regulatory issues. It's not just about having the idea. It's also equipping our entrepreneurs and MSMEs to learn about how to network. How do you navigate the waters?
We're here with Dr. David McBean, who is the Executive Director of the Mona School of Business and Management. Welcome to Business Access Television, Dr. McBean.
Thank you for having me.
Just tell me quickly, what was the thinking behind setting up this conference and organizing the theme for this conference?
Well, it's our biennial conference, as is once every 2 years. And when we looked at our research, our interest, what the country need, we decided on looking at entrepreneurship and promise of delivery. And entrepreneurship is now just so crucial for growth, and the minister would have endorsed that. And as a business school, because we remind people we're a business school, we have to look at the issues and areas that would drive business development in the country. So that's how we ended up with entrepreneurship this year.
Do you think Mona School of Business's role in helping to drive economic growth in Jamaica is somewhat overlooked?
I wouldn't say overlooked, more understated. So we've had impact on policy, for example, influencing MSME policies on entrepreneurship. We've done research and consultancies with all the major companies in the country across manufacturing, finance, for example. So we are an important part of the fabric. Our graduates, whether at the undergraduate level or the postgraduate level, are in every facet of business in the country. But people tend to take it for granted. And so one of the things we have to do is certainly increase our engagement, but also highlight our existing engagement.
Do you think there needs to be greater collaboration with the Mona School of Business and other faculties on campus?
Yes, and we do have that collaboration. So for example, our master's students right now are solving some problems in the Faculty of Medicine. And we're doing work also with the main administrative centers, looking at student performance. And so we are increasingly more integrated, and we run the venture competition on campus, whose winners have gone on to win the National Business Model Competition. So we don't only take MSBM students, we do take students from other faculties. So we do a bit, but we have a lot more to do, and especially around entrepreneurship, driving that throughout the university.
I'm really very pleased to be here and for the DBJ to be a sponsor of this very, very important conference that the Mona School of Business and Management is putting on. Indeed, this is the second year that the DBJ is sponsoring this conference. And I am pleased that we are sponsoring again this year, because the theme of the conference, delivering on the promise of entrepreneurship, is really aligned with the work that we are doing at the DBJ as it relates to our focus on the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. So we have capacity building programs that are offered to the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. the work that we're doing in entrepreneurship, the work that we do with the universities, with the incubators, the business model competition that we sponsor every year with the universities. This is all very, very, very important work that's taking place, and we are really very happy to see that the Mona School of Management and Business is now really putting into practice a lot of the research and theories that we have at the universities. So yes, we are very pleased. We are very happy to be a sponsor of this conference, and the reports that I've had so far, the conference has indeed has gone very, very well. And just to say that we're looking forward to continue working in particular with the Mona School of Business. There are a number of very exciting projects and programs that we are going to be rolling out during the course of this year. The minister might mention some of them in his remarks. But again, just to say that we are really very happy to be a sponsor again on this conference, and we wish the conference every success. Thank you very much.
You're watching Business Access's coverage of the opening ceremony and reception for the Mona School of Business and Management's 4th Business and Management Conference. More after this break. Welcome back to Business Access Television's coverage of the Mona School of Business and Management's Business and Management Conference. Here are more highlights.
I'm very happy that the Mona School of Business has saw it fit to focus on the topic of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship at its most fundamental level is taking risk in order to achieve a particular objective. You can have social entrepreneurs, you can have business entrepreneurs. I think we're focused on business entrepreneurs here, but the risk taking is common to both. And as far as business entrepreneurs are concerned, it is risk taking with a view of making a profit. Now, throughout the course of human history, it is clear and abundantly clear that the value of entrepreneurship to a society is immensely great, because all progress comes from taking risk, making mistakes, and more often than not, making breakthroughs that lead to phenomenal results. And all the advances that we can think of, the things that we take for granted, even here in Jamaica, the clothes that we wear, to the devices that we use, the cars that we drive, all of the products and services that we consume and we don't even think about, they resulted at some point in time from some entrepreneurial energy and success. Indeed, the components of all the things that we use resulted from some type of entrepreneurial success. So societies around the world that want to get ahead, want to deliver for their people prosperity, are focused on how to engender and support and inculcate in their societies this thing that we call entrepreneurship. When you go to countries like Chile, that is today known for entrepreneurship, it has resulted from a dedicated focus over a long period of time, and Chile has had some very innovative programs, some of which would be great if we could do in Jamaica. They have a program, for instance, and this is not a proposal, this is called flying a kite. But they have this very interesting thing in Chile where, and they can do it now given the stage of development that they're at, but they offer a certain amount of funds to any entrepreneur anywhere in the world who comes and sets up business in Santiago. And they may even, there's a small hiring component. So if you're going to set up a business, they advertise. You come to Chile and we will give you $50,000. I don't have the precise, it might be 50, it might be 25, but some number like that. That's how serious they are about entrepreneurship. You go to Israel, there are serious programs designed to build an entrepreneurial ecosystem. You go to India, and it's the same. And the reason is that these countries realize the tremendous value to society from having an entrepreneurial ecosystem and an entrepreneurial group in society that's not predetermined by birth. It's not the son of or the daughter of. It is determined by the power of one's character and one's dispensation, one's energy, one's outlook, one's preferences in life. If entrepreneurship is going to be dependent on the son of or the daughter of, we'll never get anywhere because there's no talent in the world that we know that's distributed in that way. But in all countries that thrive on entrepreneurship, there is a great degree of innovation that comes from their research institutions. Now, Jamaica has research. Of the 25 patents in the University of the West Indies, I believe 20 of them, Prof, you can correct me if I'm wrong, 20 of them are at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies. These are international patents. Now the question is, how many of them have been commercialized and have been made to make money? That is the question. Because one thing to have the brain power and the tenacity, brain power to develop the research, the tenacity to go through the complicated process of registering an international patent and having the intellectual property. But then the next stage is to be able to commercialize that research. And that is an element that we need to work on if we are to realize our potential. As a result of that, we are working on engagement with the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, and we're going to be doing it through the DBJ. That is going to help us with the technical resources to build the capacity for commercializing of research. And these things normally come with loans. So they lend you money and then they have one of the consulting with it. We're in the process of negotiating that now, and I hope before too long it is something that we can launch. And as I said, a key component of it will be to enhance our ability to commercialize research. The inspiration that comes from, that leads to these kinds of development are not known, it's not known a priori from which quarter it will spring. We don't know in advance under which rock or at which root of which tree this inspiration is going to arise. And therefore, we have to have an environment where wherever it springs from, capital can be available to allow it to move forward. And having a market economy where prior ownership of capital is a necessary prerequisite to get from point A to point B is an experiment in futility. That's an exercise that will never work. We have to democratize capital, and it only responds to ideas. Now, we are making steps in that regard. As I announced earlier this year, as a part of the IDB facility of which I spoke earlier, which will have the component that helps us in the research and the knowledge transfer, we're going to have a sidecar fund of just starting with 200 million Jamaican dollars that will match angel investors, dollar for dollar, on angel investments that they make. The government doesn't have the resources to do the search or the evaluation, and so what it will do is find as many angel networks as it can, 2, 3, 4, 5, and have MOUs with them that whatever they decide to support, the government will come in on the same terms on a 50-50 basis. This will expand the pool available for the ventures that are at the riskiest and most uncertain stage. We have also increased our allocations through the DBJ and through other intermediaries of funding to medium-sized, micro and small businesses. As far as a product that deals with the providing replacement for security, i.e. this guaranteed product, where a medium-sized business that doesn't have the collateral can get a credit support from the DBJ, we increased the allocation of that from 250 million last year to 600 million this year, because we're serious about promoting entrepreneurship. There's a facility that deals with risk capital at the DBJ that we increased from 100 million to 400 million this year, because we're serious about boosting entrepreneurship. This is from a government that has 1 million, as you know, pressing needs in society, but we're creating space to support entrepreneurship. We also have allocated for the first time, and we just have to finalize the mechanisms for its disbursement, $500 million that is dedicated exclusively to companies that have sales under $10 million. And so normally what happens, you allocate to MSMEs, and the companies with sales of 400 million or 300 million tend to dominate the financing. We know from our experience that the broader the base is the stronger the pyramid. So we want to make sure we have a broad base and that the micro companies have access to the oxygen of finance, and therefore $500 million exclusively to micro enterprises. In my budget presentation, I announced $200 million to be allocated towards research. Well, what we will do is allocate those funds across the research university space in a way that is transparent and in reference to some objective criteria, and leave it to the universities under some MOU with the Ministry of Finance, that's very general, to run the internal competitions for the allocation of those funds.
We take another break here on Business Access Television's coverage of the Mona School of Business and Management's 4th Business and Management Conference. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching BATV's coverage of the opening ceremony and reception for the Mona School of Business and Management's 4th Business and Management Conference. Mr. Clark, welcome to Business Access. Do you think the issue of research and development has been understated in Jamaica in terms of driving economic growth?
I think research has a huge role to play in our development. As I said in my speech earlier, of the 25 patents at the University of the West Indies regionally, 20 of them are right here on the Mona campus, right? People right here in Jamaica who have registered 20 international patents. What we want is an environment where we encourage other researchers to develop ideas that can lead to international patents, but in addition to that, we want an environment where those patents can be commercialized, where those patents, the knowledge can be transferred,
to those with entrepreneurial energy and those who have a desire to take risk, and for those patents to be turned into money at the end of the day. And the government is focused on working to ensure that this becomes a possibility. We're working with the IDB, Inter-American Development Bank, on a project to boost entrepreneurship in Jamaica, and a big part of that project will be to provide the technical resources and provide us with the technical help to build those knowledge transfer mechanisms to allow us to commercialize research.
How will you ensure that the other universities do not feel left out? Because you did speak about spreading across the country, but how will we ensure that it's not just heavily UWI influenced?
No, absolutely. When I speak about, I'm just using the examples of the patents because they have come from UWI, right? So that's just a fact of life. But our approach to research will be Jamaica-wide. Any institution involved in research, whatever we are doing, for example, with that IDB project to boost entrepreneurship, will be generally available.
You spoke about the $200 million that will start in the fund. What about those who say, that's not enough if we really want to monetize this properly?
If you start at zero,
right,
and you go from 0 to 200, that's an infinite increase, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, we have to start somewhere. This is the first time that we are making an allocation directly from the budget specifically for research. Okay, normally how it is done, it is an allocation made to the university, and then they choose what they're going to put here and there. Here we're saying research is important, and we are symbolizing what we mean by that by making an amount available. And we start somewhere, and we hope to build on that over time.
All right, Mr. Thank you so much for talking with us.
My pleasure.
Your response to the minister's presentation earlier about the government's commitment to research.
So, Mr. Clark said some very positive things about supporting entrepreneurialism and entrepreneurship in Jamaica. And I think that many of those things, if implemented properly, will have some visible impact that we're going to see. So, talking about giving space to the private sector and for that creativity to be found and democratizing funding for them, great things. And some of those programs that are through the DBJ going to be enabling more people to be able to access these funds, also great things. And the microfinance to the micro entities, also wonderful ideas. The funding to for research, big step in the right direction. Government has funded research indirectly by funding universities, but they've never before said you must use these funds for research. And now this is that first step. And I think it's very good to recognize that what research does is help provide solutions to problems that, let's say, nobody knows the answer to yet. That's the point of research. And so to recognize that that's an important component of that stream of activities that leads to the kind of entrepreneurial outputs that we're looking for, that have economic impact. And to recognize that some deliberate funding needs to be put into that, that's a step in the right direction. So I fully support.
And that's how we end our coverage of the Mona School of Business and Management's 4th Business and Management Conference, opening ceremony and reception. I'm your host, Keneal Gale. Thanks so much for watching.